guys, I am Chantal with Growing Up Without Borders, and today I am going to connect you guys with a dear friend of ours, Gary O'Keefe. Gary is a world traveler and he does things a little bit more adventurous and exotic, but he has a goal to visit every country in the world and be the first one from Ireland to do so. He has a site if you want to check it out. It's One Eye on the World, and One Eye, well, you'll soon find out why. And first, though, before you guys watch this video, make sure you guys subscribe because we're going to take you guys on a tour of the world through our YouTube channel and our videos. So make sure you subscribe if you want to join us. And without further ado, let's connect to Gary over in Ireland and see how he's doing today. Cool. Well, hey, Gary, nice to join in with you today all the way from Ireland.
Likewise, Chantal, it's been a while.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen you physically in what, 4 or 5 years, right? At least?
Yeah, surely it must be that. It must be since, I think the last time I saw you guys physically was at the Tech Summit in Dublin, maybe.
Oh, yeah. That's it. Yep. So Gary and I and our families have met at a campsite way back in 2013 when we set off on this crazy world adventure, and we kicked it off really nicely. Well, you guys have 2 kids. How old are they now? Mirren is?
Oh, Marin is 16 and
16.
Quiva is 19.
Yeah. So, wow, isn't that crazy? They were so small when we first met.
Yeah, likewise. Your girls were like really small then. I
Yeah.
think Julia would have been 12 maybe then, 11,
Yeah,
12
yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, she was like 11 or something, like really young. Yeah, it's just amazing. But we hit it off really nicely because, you know, we were into travel. We didn't have this like vision of getting to every country in the world, but Gary was already, I think you already had some kind of crazy ideas and you had already done some wild adventures at the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of on the same page in terms of traveling and adventure. You guys were reshaping your lives coming from, I think you were coming from Florida, and you came to Spain and said, "Hey, come on, this could be a different lifestyle."
Mhm.
And look, you've been doing it, so fair play.
Yeah. So explain first of all, because people need to know how crazy you are. So every time you go
Well,
on a trip, you used to come back with like a broken leg or something like out of place, right?
several broken legs. Yeah, so I suppose I've been very lucky I've just done a trip on Lake Baikal, which is in Siberia, which was Guinness World Record attempt at the longest drive on ice. So we literally picked the longest lake we could find in the world that was not permanently frozen. So it's like a freshwater lake. And we've recorded something like 800 kilometers to be verified by Guinness. We built a vehicle back here in Ireland, took an old Russian truck and made it into something different. And I came back with no broken bones, just a damaged windpipe this time. So it wasn't so bad.
A
Nothing
damaged
broken.
windpipe.
Yeah. I couldn't breathe properly, but I had nothing broken. And I mean, I've done some other trips in Siberia as well, and managed to come home with broken arms, broken legs, all that kind of stuff. But it's kind
Well,
of par for the course when you're doing that kind of thing.
yeah, and you've changed your strategy a little bit. So you used to go by motorbike and ship bike over, you know, you would do that, right? And then drive around. And now it's with this like big, huge uh, Land Rover type of car, right?
Yeah, well, so we've got a couple of vehicles now. But the main reason was, I mean, I'm a biker at heart, and I still am. But I had to switch strategies because in 2014 I had a major crash on one of these trips in Siberia. So I broke both my legs and my knees and my arm, and it's kind of like I don't know, 7th or 8th time to smash my knees. So I said, okay, I gotta change a bit. So it felt like quitting, when you get from a bike to use a 4x4. But then it's a whole different world and it's a lot of fun. So I've been I've built a kind of a small little fleet of these old Land Cruisers, really old things, and like they go forever. Every country you go to has got like a Toyota Land Cruiser. Even the terrorists and the banditos in every country have them. So they're cool.
Yeah. And has it ever broke down on you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the whole point is that everything breaks down, but the point is, if it's such a vehicle that else has got parts for, well, then you can fix it and get it going.
yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about this crazy road trip across the ice and preparing for that. I mean, I saw you jumping in freezing cold water and like what in the world?
Yeah. Well, we're always searching for some sort of adventure, and a group of us who have been traveling independently and together at different times got this idea to a guy from one of our group called Declan McAvoy. He's an Irishman,
Yeah.
and he got the idea. Wouldn't it be cool to do something on Lake Baikal? So Lake Baikal is like a massive, incredibly diverse lake out in Siberia near a city called Irkutsk. It's like it holds 20% of the world's unfrozen fresh water.
Okay.
It's 1 mile deep, and in the winter it freezes over on top. So it's dangerous. But we got this idea to do two records: one a motorcycle team record and one a 4x4 record. So I built a 4x4 along with some very, very clever friends here in Abbey Leaks in Ireland. And we put an international team from Argentina, Germany, Lithuania, Ireland, England, and Russia.
Wow.
And we decided to make a movie actually. So we didn't just decide to do another trip. So we've gone for the top. So everybody has heard about Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman and the long way around back in 2004. Everybody knows who Ewan McGregor is, right? From Star Wars and Train Spotting. So our hero in the adventure world was the guy who filmed that, a guy called Claudio von Plante, so Switzerland.
Cool.
And we literally called him up and said, "Hey, Claudio, we're not celebrities, but we want to make a movie. Can you help us?" And he said, "Yeah, why not?" So we've been
Wow.
doing,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So we're right in the middle of doing something against the odds, with a little budget. We've shot something incredible, and we're in the middle of pitching it to Netflix and Amazon and anybody else who will listen at the moment.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's talk a little bit. I wrote down some questions. So, for example, you're in Ireland. What is it like right now in Ireland during the coronavirus? And when did you guys go into lockdown?
I think we went into lockdown this day last week.
Okay.
Before that, there were some restrictions, so we're 1 week into it, and we've 1 week to go in what's like generally expected to be the first phase. We don't see this changing. We've got about 100 deaths, I think, in Ireland at the moment. And when you think about coronavirus, unless it touches you, it's like a war. You don't really feel it. You're almost desensitized.
Yep.
But I've spoken now to some people who I know very well, and I know that people that I know have died. So it's kind of starting.
People that you know have been affected and died?
Yeah, no, not nobody in my close circle that I know, but I know like close associates and their uncles, their fathers, whatever, have passed away. So it's a you might almost be forgiven for saying, look, is it a real thing or is it an overreaction? It's a real thing. It's a global war. There is no doubt about it. Nothing has affected the world like this.
No.
Now, how it seems from an Irish perspective, I would say, funnily, Irish people are pretty much known for being renegades and non-compliant and all this. But when there was a smoking ban, I think Ireland was one of the first countries to introduce a smoking ban.
Was
I
it?
remember being one of them, if not the first, it was like the second or something. Maybe
Okay.
Canada was the first. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Okay.
But when it happened, I remember being in the bar and everybody says this will never work, and in 10 minutes it worked. So
Wow.
Irish people are a little bit unpredictable like that. When it matters, we just get on with it. And no people are complaining. There's no anarchy in the streets about anything. Everybody's been respectful. It's pretty peaceful and calm.
Mm-hmm.
On the bad side of it in Ireland, it's killed the economy. I mean, we're an export economy. We rely heavily on the UK. We're looking at 25% unemployment later on this year. We're looking at a 7 or 8% contraction when we were growing by 4 or 5%. So that's probably a 3-point recession, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to hurt for sure.
Yeah.
But I suppose we're very lucky. We live in the countryside in Ireland. People live in cities. People live in 40 square meter apartments in the cities. It's bad, but it's not as bad as, say, Catalonia in Spain. I've got a friend down there, Alex Sick. He can't move. We've got people in Kosovo who are on police hours. The big worry, two big worries I have for the whole corona are the UK and the US.
Yeah.
Controls have been very lax,
Yes.
and this is going to be a problem.
Yeah. And people have this mentality that they're not going to let the government take control. And not everyone, but you know, I think that could be a big problem in the United States anyway.
Yeah, I think so. Ireland has done a good job. I think they're doing a good job, and they will continue.
Mhm.
And look, we've just got to run the road in front of us and see what happens.
Yeah,
Look
100%.
for the opportunities. Look for the opportunities in it if you're a business person, or even if you're not,
Has it
look for the
affected
change.
your business in any way? Because you guys already work remote and you're working in your office, but people can't come in now, right? So has this affected, or has there been a lot of shifting there?
Yeah, no, it has definitely. We've had to, like, what they call furlough, like temporary lay off a lot of people. We've lost 2/3 of our trading revenue in one section of the business. The other section hasn't fallen off at all because we're frontline. We're just kind of lucky. But we've got to change work practices and everything. I think the big thing is that the big positive thing that everybody is going to realize after this is that, like, remote working is the key to this. You'll see corporations looking to say, "Fuck, excuse me, but why don't we have people working remotely?" I mean, the traditional model was, well, you can't trust people to do it. Technology has way surpassed that now. All sorts of output measures are there now. The analysis is there, and the stats are there to say that people working remotely are probably more efficient
Yeah,
and get more, because who in a right mind now will want to go back to a 4-hour commute?
right.
So
Yeah.
the world has changed. The world has changed forever, and the way that we work has changed absolutely forever.
Yeah, it'll be good. And same with the schooling. It'll be nice to see how much good comes out of this with the shift from schooling and those who wanted to see how would it be like to homeschool or what have you. I mean, there's a dramatic shift and almost like a jump that certain countries can take that don't maybe have the establishments and the schools in place, like, the UK, Ireland, Canada, US, whatever have you. But some countries don't have that, and the kids are still traveling by foot a lot of distance just to get to the school. Well, this could just shift everything, the whole coronavirus, and just jump everybody into a whole different way of doing, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, every major catastrophe that has ever hit the world has changed the way the world performs thereafter, for good and bad. There's good and bad going to come out of this. Incidentally, one of our team on the Baikal project for the Guinness World Record was a young 18-year-old cameraman called Nisha Kettle from near where we live here in County Laois in Ireland. And Nisha and his three other siblings have been homeschooled. And I can tell you, the ability and the confidence of this young guy. He was performing alongside award-winning cameramen, and he was outstanding. So
Wow.
if there was ever a big thumbs up, and you guys know it well, for homeschooling, they definitely got it.
That's awesome. And how have your kids been handling the situation with this?
Yeah,
Has
they're
it
pretty
really
good.
affected them, or?
Not too bad. I mean, everybody's pretty calm. Me, I don't fancy anybody coming down in their pajamas and doing nothing all day. So I don't leave them alone. They got to do stuff. And no, I'd say they're pretty healthy and pretty good. Relationships are actually really nice at the moment.
That's good. That's awesome. Well, cool. So if you had a message that you wanted to share with the world in regards to the coronavirus or just in general, what would you give as a piece of words of wisdom, basically, that you'd like to share?
The words of wisdom maybe might be the wrong thing, because I'm not sure if I'm such a wise man, from a guy who has broken so many bones and lost so many body parts at this stage. But I would say that the best way to look at this is 100% positively. What is going to change for the better? Where can I see a different way of doing things? What way am I going to come out of this for the better? because all the things that you think about for the worst will look after themselves. If you put all your energy into focusing on where you can change for the better and what you can learn, I think we're going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of winners from this as a society if people grasp that with two hands.
That's awesome. Okay, and then if people want to follow along your journeys and see a little bit more about what you do they just go to oneeyeontheworld.com?
One Eye in the World on Facebook is probably the most active. The Baikal project is worth, it's a project in isolation, the baikalproject.com. That's worth a look. And we're now thinking about how we're going to rechange and re-engage with people on the One Eye in the World platform. And I won't tell you too much, but we have got a mega project coming on the back of this one, which if the last one looked a little bit scary, that was a tea party compared to what we got planned next.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be nuts. I can't wait to follow along. Tell us really fast your story about your eye and why, because that's what you call it, One Eye on the World, right? So
my page is called One Eye in the World because I have one eye. This one is from glass, as I often tap as a party piece to terrify people. Look, it happened as an accident when I was a young kid on a farm. These things happen, and I took the view without even knowing it. I wasn't positive because I said, "Oh, let's mentally focus on this." It probably just didn't affect me. I didn't realize that it was a problem. I could still see everything, and okay, I bump into things and I crash a bit more than most people. And the left-hand side of my car is pretty damaged, but it's given me pretty funny stories, and it's given me a great platform to travel on. And look, I take the view in all these things that if something has happened and it's a disaster, like a day is enough to grieve for the disaster. If it's gone, it's gone. No more amount of feeling sorry for yourself, sitting there thinking, if only this, if only that. Nothing is going to change it. So you got to just dump all that negative stuff and say, right now I've got one eye. How can this be used? So I won't say losing one eye is a very, very positive thing, but I have found some hilarious days because of it, to be honest.
Awesome. Cool. Last question. If you could get stranded anywhere in the world during coronavirus, where would you choose to be?
No question. Ireland.
Home sweet home.
Ireland is the most unpredictable, unusual, funny, heartbreaking, cosmopolitan mix of madness that you can ever think of. But
I love Ireland. I love the Irish people. You guys are the best. From just when you get off the plane, you can feel it and you can see it in the border control people. I mean, they're hilarious just off the get-go. So every time we go, we love it.
We try not to take things too seriously.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thank you so much for joining in today, for sharing some insight. And we'll be in touch soon, I guess.
Thanks for having me, and keep doing what you're doing. And